time of day. I'm Jack Worthington. This is Provisionally Approved.
I'm Jen.
I'm Frank.
Okay, so none of us have been on this before, mainly because I'm the producer and you guys just haven't been around during this. So let's maybe get a rundown of what productions you've been on.
Cool. If you want to go first.
Cool. So I'm the production manager for The Ascenders, but I've also done short films in the past.
So I've worked on numerous productions with RMITV since 2011. So Studio A, Live on Bowen, In Pit Lane, Communications, which was a pilot, and many others.
Yeah, I saw the pilot for Communications. That was really funny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the best productions that I worked on because it was just so so silly, and it really captured the vibe of community TV and student television.
Yeah.
It was like a mockumentary type comedy about student television. It was quite funny.
Very meta.
Yeah.
It was like
Very
The
meta.
Office if The Office was set in RMITV's office. Yeah, so you've worked on your short film, Mel and Rana. I've never worked on short films before, at least not any that required any planning. So maybe could you run through what that took?
Yeah, sure. So it was actually very crazy. So we won a grant from HP, and we had to make a short film in 2 weeks. So it was really nuts. And I just started first year media, and I pretty much just posted on Facebook and got a pretty good crew together. The lead actor was actually in my course as well, so it just worked out really well. But basically, we had to source actors. We actually hadn't. Okay, don't tell anyone this, but I didn't have a script. I won on a pitch idea, and I'm like, because I didn't think I'd win.
Yeah.
And when I won, I'm like, okay, I have to write a script and source actors, get everything ready. And our script was, so the story of Mel and Rana, it's about an Indian family living next door to an Australian family. And the Australian dad is kind of reluctant to go to this barbecue that the Indians are holding. So it's sort of about, an intercultural relationship between the daughter Mel and the son Rana from each respective family. So basically, we ended up doing some casting on the Friday, and we were shooting that weekend, like Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
And I sourced the crew from pretty much the media Facebook page. And yeah, so basically we wrote the script. That took about a week. And the most important thing was getting feedback. I pretty much did a first draft, sent it off to a few of my writer friends, got feedback, then did edits, because I think it's so important to get feedback on your work. And then we actually did casting, and we couldn't find the lead actor for the dad, who's a Punjabi guy. So we ended, and my partner is Indian as well, so that's based, the story's based on our relationship. And he only found out, the family only found out about our relationship a week before we started shooting. And the dad, because we couldn't find a dad actor, the dad actually ended up playing his dad in the script. And he was amazing. It was such a crazy experience. But it was really fun. And obviously the writing, me and my partner Amy did the writing. All the jokes, the cultural jokes are his idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, we basically did the filming, thanks to all my friends and, the network of people that I just pulled together. And RMITV, Alex Zemtov, who's the technical manager, ended up shooting it. So yeah, we're very lucky to get people on board.
And I saw some of the competition they were up against was prodigious, but Mel and Rana held up. That was a really good production, especially for not having a script.
Yeah, I watched it and yeah, wow. I didn't realise that it was such a short turnaround.
Oh, it was crazy. No sleep in that 2 week period.
It's like a 48-hour film festival film.
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, I used to run the 48-hour film project in Melbourne. And I was the festival producer, but I'd never done one. And now I know kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
So how did you handle casting for something like that? Did you put out a cast call through
Yeah, I put out a casting call through Star Now, and I got a few people, and we ended up doing not rehearsals, it's kind of a rehearsal, but auditions on the Friday, because we literally only put it up on the Monday, because like I was so busy writing like the week before, and then did auditions on Friday, then shot on the weekend. So I put up casting calls because we had a huge cast, so we had 4 characters for the mum and dads of each family. Then we had the Mel and Rana, and then we needed all these extras as well. So we ended up getting my partner Ami's like family friends to come and like go in the backyard and look like they're doing something.
Yeah.
So it was really good fun.
Yeah, the cast of that did seem quite large, but it was almost natural. Like the backyard barbecue scene, I might throw it in here. But the barbecue scene was really well done in terms of that wide shot of who was in that backyard. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was kind of luck because it was mainly Alex because he was the cinematographer, and he's like, okay, you should place people here so it looks busy. So it was all fluke, pretty much. But yeah.
Cool.
I really want to work on a production with Alex. He seems like a really smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What productions are you sort of?
I haven't been working on too many this year. I'm working on Offbeat at the moment on Wednesdays. That's pretty good. We do news, so it's just a normal kind of news broadcast, but with some more interesting stories.
Okay. Yeah. I've been working on the uploads for that, and
oh yeah, cool.
Some of the guests that she's had on.
They've been
really
good,
interesting.
They had someone from a Down syndrome support
Blessing
group.
Bags?
Not sure.
The most recent upload has been Blessing Bags.
Okay.
And that was a charity that was, like, the daily producers for this show are bloody amazing. They're just so on top of the people they've brought in.
Yeah.
Thursdays, it's like, we have to choose 1 or 2 segments to go online, and almost every day has challenged us with that because all 3 segments are so filled with content. Like Thursday, they almost always have a TV star, some kind of movie personality, as well as like the news of what's happened in the industry recently.
Oh wow.
Fridays have been like Michael Schaefer is a comedian, whatever those comedy people are called. And his like approach to the whole thing has been very broad based. He's done skits and sort of interviews, and I don't know, it's really difficult. I hate to say it, but the producers are giving us a bad time because they're so good.
That's a good thing though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But it'd have more than less.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you worked on Studio A, which is like the old flagship,
It was
right?
a pretty fun show to work on. Yeah, it was a little bit little bit more extreme than Live on Bowen, I guess you'd say. Like there was more cast, and so we ran into some problems with lack of equipment. So there was times where some sketches had like 6 people on stage at the same time, and we didn't have enough mics, so we had to someone was always on boom, and some of the mics were a little bit dodgy at that time, and some of them would just drop out for no apparent reason, and yeah.
Was it a live
But
show?
it was always good because it was live, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, live television's one of those things that you don't really get that experience through anything else. It's just...
There's that exhilarating feeling when, like, if something goes wrong...
You have to fix it, but you have to know that, next time you'll do better.
Yeah. And, like, I was on Live on Bowen for season 6.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we had one group that was... I think it was Backwards Anorak. They're a comedy choir sort of group. 4 people.
Yeah.
And that was terrifying to me. I wasn't running sound or anything.
Yeah.
That just seemed like a thing that would not be possible in a live environment. And then, looking at Offbeat, and they've done that thing multiple times without even batting an eye.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of talent that goes into these productions is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sort of on the opposite vein of those studio-based shoots, we have the Ascenders, which you're the...
Production manager, yeah. So the Ascenders is all location shooting, and they want to shoot 6 episodes, and I think they're pretty much three into it, and they're starting on the 4th one soon. And the insane thing about this show is that they have way too many cast, so it's so hard to get them all together on the same day. Yeah, so that one, it's very interesting. Like it's kind of different from like the shows you've worked on, because it's all sort of location shooting. So you have to organise crew for all the days and make sure you have everything covered, and organise transport, those sorts of things, locations. Yeah, so it's a bit different to a studio shoot.
I guess one of the good things about Ascenders is it actually has a budget, which is good, through the CBF grant.
Yeah.
It was originally assigned to Spines, so that's one good thing that's good about that.
Yeah, lucky.
Well, like, from what I've heard, the same sort of, same producers, the producers of the Ascenders were people who've worked on Spines.
Yeah.
And so they've sort of come out of Spines with this knowledge of, hey, this is what we need to avoid, and this is what we need to sort of work towards. Yeah. And that's partly the reason behind them having 6 primary cast members.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, if cast can disappear, especially on volunteer productions. There's nothing keeping them besides, the love of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Mike Gorry, the head writer, he basically went into the project going, well, how can we sort of cover our losses should people disappear? And so originally episode 3 was supposed to have 7 major cast members. Dilrook, who is like the best comedian ever.
Yeah, he used to be on Live on Bowen.
Yeah, he was one of the stars of the Ascenders, and he's gotten paid work. He's good on him. Yeah. But because of that, his character has to go, and so having those 6 extra, because there is still 6 people in his place, was just life-saving almost. So yeah.
And you're one of the writers as well for that, aren't you?
Sort of.
Sort of.
My official job description is trainee producer, and I haven't really done much in the writing side, mainly because I don't really trust myself with writing. I'm not that creative. But I've done sort of a couple of sketches, which we'll be filming shortly, hopefully.
Cool.
Because The Ascenders is meant to be a multimedia-based show. There's going to be the 6 episodes of television content, as well as online sketches that come out periodically in relation to that universe. Yeah. So, episode 3, the group go to a web convention, and they're like learning sort of, hey, this is what we need to do to be successful in what we want to do. And so as soon as episode 3 is released, a bunch of web content would come out online that would be like, hey, the group's actually following what they learnt in the universe. The show is real.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so we're sort of trying to write as many sketches and as much comedic content that relates to the characters, which is a bit complicated because these are characters without sort of real...
So you have to create them.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you write a sketch, you have to write it in the as if the character in the universe wrote the sketch.
So meta.
Yeah.
So
it's just too meta.
It's a show within a show.
Yeah. And we're trying to make it a show within a show within a show. One of the sketches is going to be a not necessarily a documentary, but someone recording the recording of a sketch.
Like a documentary?
Yeah. One of the characters, Rowan, is a bit of a creepy guy. And so he's there's this online trend which I'll never understand for the life of me called ASMR, and it's...
What is that?
Oh boy. So with some people, apparently, I haven't ever experienced this, but soft noises, especially that whispering, like the, hi, I'm going to just touch the microphone now. That sort of whispering triggers something in your brain that just gets you like excited or something.
Excited or creeped out?
I think it's a positive thing.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. So the way I always imagined it is like the hair standing up on the back of your head, neck sort of
Yeah.
like tingles. But one of the characters is going to try and record one of those sketches.
Oh my god. I watched High Maintenance, and there was a woman who had a YouTube channel where she just like whispered and like touched things.
That's it.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense now.
Yeah. No,
'Cause
it
I was
doesn't.
like, what the hell?
Yeah, so it's a really weird trend that sort of emerged, and there's entire microphones designed around sort of
Oh my god.
looking like a human head.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So
So there's a microphone in each ear, and therefore it creates a kind of three-dimensional space. So it kind of sounds like you are actually in that space.
Yeah.
So it's like a stereo mix.
yeah,
Okay.
But at the exact distance that your ears are.
That's
So
really creepy.
yeah. So that mic has a ton of awesome applications. Like imagine if you're watching TV and you felt like you're exactly where the shot was meant to be taking place. Sort of.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you combine that with 3D.
Yeah. Like, oh.
yeah,
And then people on the internet took it and began rubbing it.
yeah, because there's
Did you say rubbing?
Yeah. So you play with things near the head, or you play with the
Oh,
ears.
okay.
there's one on YouTube that's actually a haircut, a virtual haircut, and it's just this person walking around the it's like a barber shop.
Yeah.
And they're like, someone's strumming a guitar, and
Oh my
then
god.
they're like cutting your hair, and it actually feels like someone is doing it. It's really weird.
Yeah, and so there's some really cool applications for it. Like, people have created entire environments out of sound just by using these mics and the right panning, which is absolutely awesome. Like, you put on the headphones, and if they're good enough, you almost feel like you're in that barber shop. Or the one that I really liked was the one where you're in a football field.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so they have like, it's a wind coming through where you hear the wind and you can sort of feel the direction of the wind coming towards you, and you hear in the distance a voice sort of yelling out, can you hear me? Sort of.
Wow.
It's awesome.
So they create soundscapes.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's probably my favorite sort of audio-based art form.
Would you have to wear earphones
Yeah.
to get the experience?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
couldn't do it with just normal computer speakers.
Okay.
They wouldn't really work the same because it's not as close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be like right in your ears.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Why were we talking about this again? You brought it up for some
ASMR
reason.
sketches.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was trying to find the positive. So yeah, we're going to have someone filming of that sketch, which is going
That's
to be
funny.
cool.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
But speaking of sound, you came to us from Sin, right?
Yeah, so I originally started on 1700 doing audio back in, I think it was probably June 2011. And then someone who was also working on 1700 was one of the, I think she was production manager of Studio A. And she said, I've got this show. We need some help with audio. Do you want to come and help? Well, I don't really know much, but okay. And so I came along, and within 2 or 3 episodes, I was the director, the audio director of the show. It was quite a fast baptism of fire.
What does that include, an audio director?
It's basically you read through the script, read through the run sheet, and mark where the audio assistants will need to change mics. You also have to mix the show and the bands that play. We normally record the bands before the show or a separate day. Other than that, yeah, just making sure that the cast is mic'd up so that the audio assistants do their job, and yeah.
Yeah, and especially on a live event, that's really important.
Yeah.
Uh,
Making sure that they mic them up at the right time and everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And God forbid a mic drops out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I ran sound for my high school musicals because, of course, I did. And the feeling you get when a mic breaks during a performance is just the most terrifying thing. And with live television,
So that's why it's always good to have a boom operator.
Yeah.
That way you can just switch between.
It's a good backup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even a handheld microphone, just in case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Live audio is just so intense. It's great.
I can imagine. And like you also worked on Live on Bowen, right?
Yeah. So so after Studio A was finished up, the two producers of that created Live on Bowen. Live on Bowen, the name came from the street, Bowen Street, and it's kind of similar to the name of a show that they also had on Deakin TV, which is called The Mutant Way. So they created both shows. So it's like a little homage thing.
Yeah. We used to have some really cool co-productions with Deakin TV.
Yeah. Stefan and Craig, Slightly Live was one of those. It's just,
So like we'd have these awesome sets built, and we'd have like the people who came on felt like they were from, like it was a professional grade production.
yeah.
Everything about it felt like a good deal of money had been sunk into it, which really didn't, right? Like these were pretty bare bones productions.
Pretty. I mean, compared to a high budget TV show, that nothing compared to.
Where was it shot? Was it shot at Deakin?
No, it's shot in Studio A in Building 12.
Yeah. And so, what did Deakin supply from that? That was.
I think the crew, or some of the producers. Yeah.
So like I've sort of fallen in love with these co-productions because it's like RMITV, we produce this level of content and everyone else produces this level of content. But when we get together, we produce Stefan and Craig. Politics at the Belleville was a recent co-production with Catalyst, the student magazine at RMIT.
The Sin Budget Night, that was a good one.
Yeah, and In Joke Tonight, Live from the House, was a live to web production that we ran tech for.
There was one that was about kind of politics and current affairs called The Inquiry. It was another Sin RMITV co-production.
Yeah.
It was really popular. I think it won some awards.
Yeah. So like I guess the moral of the story is together we
Collaborate.
It's community TV, right?
Yeah. And I think those productions have really shown sort of what we can do. Like politics at the Belleville. I was on that for the first few episodes and I helped edit a couple of them. But that was a really neat sort of way of seeing just how quick we could do a turnaround on news without using the studio. So the writers for that would, essentially the night before, look at the previous headlines and go, this is what the youth of today or our viewers need to know about, and this is how they need to know about it. And it had a really good segment that I loved called Dumb Question of the Week. And I was like, I felt really bad whenever I watched it because their dumb question of the week was a question I didn't even think of because it was too smart for me. It was like really simple things. Like they spent an episode talking about the Pacific Trade Agreement.
The Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Yeah.
I love that one.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
Exactly. That was their dumb question of the week. And I was like, oh, thank God someone's finally explaining this thing. And like,
it's like a trade agreement type thing.
Yeah.
With another country?
With
all the
lots of countries.
Okay.
So everything around the Pacific, a bunch of countries got together, and I'm not sure if we should talk about this on a media podcast.
Yeah, I know. It gives it a little bit too political, I think.
Google it.
Basically, they got together and said, "Hey, trade is good. Let's get trading. Here's what we need to get rid of. Here's what we need to enact." And so
some of it's a little bit scary.
Little shady.
Giving companies a little bit too much control over, like countries' affairs.
Yeah. Because the whole idea was meant to be that there was this level of secrecy around it that made sense, because if a company finds out that in this agreement, we're not going to have this protection from certain things. We're going to lobby to get that protection, which could drastically alter the outcome of the deal. And so there was this all this secrecy, and no one really found out what was in the deal until it came out that we'd signed it, which was fine, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Politics.
And stuff.
At the Belleville.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's another season. Check it out.
It's like a promo show for all of the RMITV shows.
Oh, don't tell them that. Nah. Yeah, so I guess I'm more web-based stuff. I really am interested in online content and distribution. And so I've worked on a lot of the productions you guys are mentioning, and especially through the archive project. I've seen all of the shows you've been on. And in Studio A, I think I actually saw you on it.
Really?
Because one of the crowd shots shows you at the audio desk or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
That's
weird.
awesome.
So like you're on TV.
Oh, wow.
But like we have all these old programs that recorded to tape, and even some new programs that record to tape still, where we're trying to get them digitized.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's this process of just sort of getting everything together, especially Tough Times Never Last.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love that show. It's one of our best, in my opinion, best training programs.
It's so easy to do, and it's got such good content. You know, it's got the whole tough times never last, but tough people do idea that inspires lots of people. So
Yeah. So Michael Kazilny is the executive producer / host of that show, and every week during its production, I'm not sure if we're allowed to talk about this, but every week there's 3 episodes filmed, 26 minutes of content, and he sits down with a different person each week, and I don't know where he finds them because it's absolutely amazing some of the stories they bring. But he brings them in, and the crew switches around every episode as well. And so you start off with this massive crew that's, you have 3 camera people, 2 floor managers, 2 directors, 2 assistant directors, 2 audio desk, 2 of everything aside from camera. And the whole purpose is that one episode, you train the person next to you. The next episode, they do the job. And so
it's a really smart idea.
Yeah, it's an absolute baptism by fire. Because, you go into the director's position, sort of, even if you know nothing, they'll trust you with it. And the person who's teaching you will be like, so this is how I was taught, this, and this. When we go to this person, make sure it's a close-up, that sort of thing. And it's really simple, but
cool.
I couldn't think of a better training program.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea.
It's got really good content too.
Yeah.
Is some of this content that is being digitized, is that going to go online?
It will, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the dream.
We'll put some of it up. Some of the we'll put some Loft Live episodes up, and there's a few other shows that we put up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Really want to get Stefan and Craig back to Stefan and Craig, because they have their own YouTube page, and we have all of their content. I don't know, there's a lot of really old shows that were just amazing. Laugh You Bastards.
Yeah, that was great. It was like a Monty Python type sketch show, where they just such great comedy.
Yeah, they it was operating out of the old Studio A, and so it was this massive set, and they'd have these sketches that were just insane. They ranging from like just guys talking in a talk show style manner, sort of like a
talking about cannibalism and stuff like that for no apparent reason.
Yeah, so they brought 2 doctors in, and they're like, if you're feeling hungry, try cannibalism, and that sort of thing. And so the show itself is amazing, and I really don't think that should be lost to anyone. So yeah, me and Frank are also working on that archive effort, which is awesome, because
it's going to take a while.
Yeah, well, we'll get through it.
Yep.
Right now, we can only really digitize anything that was filmed to DV tape.
DV tape or VHS, because we don't have any Betacam or U-matic or There's a few other formats we don't have either.
Yeah.
We don't have the machines to do it.
And so there's this sort of rush against time to get them digitized before that
Before they-
disappears.
Before the particles start to,
Disintegrate.
shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be such a loss if we
Would
don't
be.
get it done.
Because we've got Rove's first show, Peter Hallier, Kieran Grant, American Rosso.
Oh, we've got a couple of the early Hamish and Andy sketches as
Yeah,
well.
we've got those as well.
Oh, that's
from
great.
It's really-
Radio Karate and Raucous, two RMITV productions that they created or they worked on.
Mm.
That'd be fantastic promotional material for RMITV.
Yeah.
To show the content.
Would
I
be.
feel like coming into RMITV, all I really heard about it was that these people had come from it. I never got to see the content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like-
but it'll be awesome once we get it.
Yeah.
And we even have a couple of their old sketches on our page.
Yeah.
We have RMITV, when you sign up to do a show with them, they reserve the right to sort of,
Use the shows as promotion.
Yeah.
which is awesome because, we get to keep the content alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. So why are you guys? Oh, this is gonna sound like rude as heck. Why are you guys with RMITV? Is there like a plan in media for you guys, or?
Well, I can't really speak. Well, I think the reason that I'm doing RMITV is just the experience. Like, there's no way that I could get this experience any other way. And, it's just good to be doing things because you're always going to learn something. And it's a really good, experience. It's a good environment to learn. And even, like, to teach people, because if you know something and then you teach someone, and that knowledge is then passed on, it's not just lost.
Yeah. Well, I actually discovered kind of television production was an option in first year TAFE. I was originally thinking that I would only want to do music recording, but then someone suggested, why don't you try TV? I mean, there's lots of options for doing audio for TV, and so since then I've been volunteering doing audio for TV, learning the craft and teaching people how to do it. And I've actually through that knowledge and experience that I've gotten, I actually got a short-term job with RMIT University to teach their media students how to use the studio, the audio in the studio, Studio A, Building 12. So yeah.
It's such a vital thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
And Jack, what about you?
Oh, I still have no idea. Like, I love producing content, and I love sort of that feeling when it all comes together. And I guess I'm good at editing quickly. Does that make sense? So I don't know where I'm going with this.
And including this one, how many shows are you doing?
Don't ask me. Currently, I'm doing this. I handle the editing and the posting of this. I'm actually not on as many shows this semester, so much as the content outside of the shows. So like the YouTube End Plates project, getting those both filmed and distributed to the people producing with
And
RMITV.
what are end plates?
So end plates are, you'll see one at the end of the video. They're these sort of just a static picture with a single person saying, hey, if you like this content, check out here. And it's a good way of, because RMITV, we don't require that anyone who creates a show produces the content within their RMITV YouTube page. We have all these spread out networks and channels that are absolutely awesome but aren't connected as well as they should be. And so these end plates offer us the opportunity to say, hey, if you liked this comedy show, check out all of these sketches we've got from this other group. And so, it's a lot of time wasted on adding links to things.
So how do the links work? Do you actually have to like add a click like area and add a URL, or how does that work?
So I absolutely love the YouTube interface for this because it's really easy. But the way I've been sort of approaching it is we have a big blue backdrop with white squares, and then the content goes within those squares. So that when we add the annotation in post, YouTube allows us to add annotations to the video. And there's two kinds that we use. One has a black line background, one has a white background. The white background looks really good with the white square. And one of the options for annotations is, aside from writing down like, hey, check it out, you can also add a link to it. And so it puts a white square over the content that you're pointing at and allows you to click on that content and say, I want to look at this.
Okay.
It's cool.
And can you put multiple links?
Yep. The offbeat end plate, which will be coming out will be rolling out this week, much to my dismay, has 7 links in it.
Whoa! Oh,
How do you
for each day or what?
So there's the one that we've got finished at the moment is Michael Schaefer.
Yeah.
He's got a big 720 screen in the corner here, and then 5 squares, each of which has a different day's show.
Yeah.
So Monday through Friday. Then there's the RMITV, which links back to our RMITV channel page, and then the offbeat one, which is a subscribe button.
Ah, cool.
So every video you upload, which is 5 a week at least on offbeat, has to have those 7 annotations in it.
And they need to change depending on what day.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
the end goal for the end plates would be to have the host of the show have their own end plate at the end of their episode that says, hey, if you liked what I did, check out these, because this is a different day with a different host and awesome stuff. And so currently we've only got sort of 2 from Michael, which are absolutely awesome. He somehow nailed the pointing at the right videos, even though, yeah.
And do you know how much, like, do they work? Like, do people actually click on them? Do you have access to that data?
Yeah, so another cool thing about YouTube is that they give us the analytics pretty much for free.
Yeah.
They allow you to see how people reached other content, and recently there's been a steady increase in people going to our content from our other content.
That's good.
Especially for things like the podcast or Politics of the Belleville, where I've sort of figured out the playlists so that there's a single smart playlist whose link stays the same, and every time an episode is uploaded with a certain name, it gets added to that playlist. And so the annotation for that stays the same, but it allows us to link to that playlist so people who like the content can just watch through it without going to different shows.
Oh yeah.
So our audience retention, I think, went up 10 or 20%.
Oh, wow. And you can control what's on that playlist?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
We've sort of had a very spread out approach to playlists, but I think we finally hit that point where we know what to do with them. And, you know, learning the little things like the YouTube landing page, we can put playlists up so it shows episodes as we've uploaded them right below where people arrive, if that makes sense.
So like on the homepage, the subscribe page?
Yeah, so when you
Okay.
go to our homepage, you see the YouTube trailer, if you're a new subscriber, that says, hey, welcome to our channel, check out our stuff. And then below that it has joining with RMITV. So we have 3 videos that are sort of what you can expect if you join with us, what we've created in the past, and our show reel, which looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then below that we have episodic content. So playlists from our different shows that are like, hey, check out this show and this amount of content. And people have been actually going through those and watching
That's
some,
good.
Oh, that's great.
which is awesome. Granted, it's only like a few, but it's still a good increase, and it's a good example of what we can do with online stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got, how many shows are we doing the end plates for? think it's 4. We've got the RMITV centric one.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Google Drive folders that they've got different names. There's the RMITV centric ones, which are just, hey, if you liked our content, check out this content. Then there's the provisionally approved ones, which are for the podcast that say, hey, if you liked the podcast, check out the podcast. Then there's offbeat ones, which are, if you liked offbeat, check out offbeat. And then there's...
Are we going to do a Bowen one?
I've messaged Claire, well, we got Claire in the other day, and we've filmed Claire's, and I'm hoping that Rob...
Oh, that'd be great. Rob Caruana's one of the funniest comedians I've ever met.
Oh, he's just a funny guy. It's rare.
Throwing cakes and...
Do you want to go through the final episode, his final segment for Bowen?
Oh, do you want to tell it? I mean,
I feel like the world is better if we do.
I can't even remember how good it was. It was like he came on and he said that he had all these ideas that he wanted to do, but because the show was ending, he couldn't do them all. So he fitted them all into one segment.
So he had this massive ream of paper back with all these random notes just jotted down on them, and it was terrifying because every single one of them had a note on it. And he was just pulling them out, going, "Oh, here's an idea. Hey Simon," pulls out a jar of M&Ms or Smarties. I'm not sure what it was, but he's like, "How many Smarties are in a jar?" And he's like, oh, "I don't know, 500." "Ha! Joke's on you. They're M&Ms," and pours them on the desk.
That's awesome. So
at the end of the skit,
he got blood and bone everywhere. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know what was the blood and bone
like
about?
actual blood?
As in, like, blood and bone's a type of fertilizer
the fertilizer
type. Yeah.
So he was like, start a farm? Yeah, I can do that.
And what did he did something with a jar of jam, and he smashed the jar of jam, and everyone was freaking out that he was going to cut himself. It's
so
really like extreme.
He had a coffee plunger, and he tried to make jam, and he was trying to get actual jam into his jam mix, and he started tapping the edge of the jar, and then smashed it, and so there's glass everywhere. He puts blue dye in, he puts shaving cream in, and then just takes a bite, and then he's like, "Oh, the producers are freaking out because I just ate glass." And he treats it like it's nothing.
He also did he have a cake tied to the ceiling?
He had a cake where he's like, "Oh, I got you a gift because you have to put up with all my shit." And Simon at this point actually looks like he's put up with a lot of shit. And so he cuts a string and a cake falls from the ceiling. And he's like...
And landed on his head?
It just landed on the floor, and he's like, I was going to splat you, but I know what you're going to do. You were going to splat me, so I'm going to splat myself. Splats himself. Claire runs on with another cake and splats him in the face as well. Like...
It was brilliant.
I think I've never had so much fun crewing a thing that producers are freaking out about as much as that. It's weird.
Talking about producers freaking out, there was one episode of Bowen that there was actually a street sweeper caught fire outside the studio, and we were worried that the studio might be on fire, so everyone was about to leave, and then...
Yeah.
How did a street sweeper catch fire?
I think it picked up cigarette butts.
Oh my god!
And it just caught fire.
Yeah.
So it was right out front of the air intake for the studio.
Someone put cigarette butts on the street.
Yeah. Well, I've heard the same thing about the in Pit Lane, where there was a fire alarm that went off, but because they were live to air, they were like, "It's probably just a drill. This is a little more important."
Oh my god.
And someone came down and yelled at them.
Oh my god.
"Get out, there's an actual fire." And so the In Pit Lane episode was half of it was just an empty studio with a siren going on.
Oh no. Because what was the...
And that was live?
Yeah, live.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he talked about it in the Live from the Basement episode.
Wow.
Or one-off.
Well, the Ascenders has a fire story, but I'm not sure whether we should tell it or not.
No, look, that was a training experience, and I don't think we have time for it. I think we're just about out of time. I'm sorry. So yeah, this has been Provisionally Approved. I'm Jack,
I'm Jen.
I'm Frank.
and we'll look forward to seeing you next week with someone more attractive than myself.
And me. Like less attractive or more attractive than me.
Cool. See you next week. Hey, if you liked what you just saw,
Click here.
And here.
there's nothing up there.
Okay, sorry.